What's going on, everybody? KSA Kris here. Got a good friend in here coming to hang out, and we're going to be talking about lending today. Lending. And I think the first thing that I would want to start off with, everybody, real estate agents specifically, everybody thinks, oh yeah, well, you know, I have a preferred lender. I know what lending is and this and the other. And honestly, I've been in this a long time. I'm still realizing at least once a week that I don't know what the hell is going on when it comes to lending. So we're going to be hanging out a little bit. So introduce yourself, tell them everybody who you work with, etc. So at least down here in San Diego and also Riverside County.
Yes. Good morning. Eric Bibel here with the Gaylord Hanson Mortgage Team with Caliber Home Loans. Have extensive knowledge in all scopes of lending, residential mortgages, and here to answer whatever questions you guys have here today.
Yeah, so I told him, he's like, yeah, well, you know, he says, you know what, let's just wing it. Let's just have fun. You're an expert at what you do. I am just a very curious person. So we figured we'd just kind of run with it and see what happens. So I think that there's a couple different areas that I wouldn't mind talking about. One of them is, what's the difference, because I hear it all the time when we're talking with a client, what's the difference between your preferred lender or going to Quicken Loans or somebody online? And I know that there's a huge freaking difference. But I don't know how to always convey that to somebody. So what is the difference between, you know, somebody working with somebody like you or just going online and hitting rocket ship loans or whatever the hell it's called?
Huge difference, and that's a great question. I mean, having your preferred lender, you've created and edified a relationship with. So really you understand one another's business, how each entity works, and what their specific need is for that particular client. And ultimately there is a want there on both sides of the house to ensure that you're doing your thing, that we're ultimately helping your client and building your business. Quicken or any of those other big kind of machine lending teams do not care about you. They don't care about the people. They don't care if the deal doesn't close. Therefore, they miss a lot of kind of potential downfalls in the beginning of the transaction that could be easily identified and easily navigated through on the front end. So having a personal relationship, I give out my cell phone, you know where to catch me. I'm at your guys' events, we invite you guys to ours. So I mean, really there's the personal touch to it that if something does go awry, it's not a surprise, it's not coming out of left.
I think that's what I like, is at least as an agent and, you know, as a operations officer for a business, you know, of agents. I like the fact that we can pick up the phone and call somebody, and things always happen in every transaction. There's always something, and the hardest people that I think we've found to work with out of everybody is and it's upsetting to me, is Navy Fed. I was in the military for 20 plus years, right? And I retired out of the military, and I have Navy Fed, and but Christ, they suck to work with as an agent trying to get somebody to close on a property, one of your clients.
I mean, Chris, you bring up a great point. I mean, Navy Fed, USAA, Veterans United, they are fundamentals in the military community. They're not focused around mortgages. Mm-hmm. They don't understand mortgage. Mortgage is not their backdrop. We specialize in mortgages. That is our motive. We're not a depository. We're not selling credit cards. We're not selling auto loans. Those additional auxiliary components, our main and sole focus is around mortgage. Mm-hmm. And that said, I mean, you also brought up another good point, is communication. Those companies they don't work on the weekends. They don't work after hours. We're like you. I mean, we're in the trenches. 6 o'clock in the morning, whether it be on a Tuesday or on a Sunday, we get it. The majority of the information and shopping modes of the transaction occur in off-bank hours. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true, and I think that's what we've ran into when we deal with bigger lenders. I think also, when I did a radio show, I don't know, it was a while back, and I think if anybody, if you go back and look at, was it KSA Insider? We actually did a whole one. So I was covering for Iran, who does the lunch and learn with Iran, everything else on live radio in San Diego, and he had been sick, so I started covering all of his radio shows for him. And the thing is, he's a lawyer and he talks about consumer protection. I'm not a lawyer, but they asked me to do it. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do it. I'll figure it out as we go. So I did a whole bunch of consumer protection stuff on what I know, which is real estate. And we talked about predatory lending and predatory mortgages. And honestly, every time we came to an example, it was never the smaller, and I don't want to say small as if it's a negative thing by any stretch of the mind, but a smaller, localized, hyper-localized business as opposed to the big box businesses. The big box businesses, every time we turn around, they were the ones that were creating the predatory conditions. And even though it may look legal, and how that one came up, that episode when I was writing it out, one of our lenders that we had used, out of the blue, he calls me up and he says, "You would not believe I had to pay back my commission because this other lender came in and said they could provide a better rate, and then they had their hand out for their money." I guess that happens for you guys. If somebody can, within a certain amount of time, they
not so much anymore. I mean, that was a thing in the past, a commission buyback, but it's almost a kind of behind-the-scenes prepayment penalty, which most are moving away from.
Yeah.
We don't have them.
And this is basically what happened. They actually tricked our clients into thinking they were getting a better rate. And what they were doing is they were paying less on their taxes. And they were making it look like they were getting a better month-to-month rate, but they weren't. They basically had to pay it all back anyways in property taxes. So they were just, "Oh, you want to get that rate? Yeah, we can get you to $400 a month. Not a problem." And they were just basically juicing it from the frickin' property taxes.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, and I was floored, man. But anyways, go check that out. I did a live interview or live radio when I had a couple radio shows back in the day. But I think that's why I'm a big fan of having somebody that's hyper localized, being able to work with somebody that we can call as a real estate agent. So I think the big one is, if you were to educate, if a real estate agent was watching us, if you were to educate them on this is how you express or explain to a potential client or a working client, not to steer them, but to basically educate them. Because I believe you dominate through education.
Absolutely.
Right? And, of course, with RESPO, well, you can't steer and this and that and the other. We're not looking to steer anybody. We're looking to provide information. And they are grown adults, and they make their own decisions. If they still choose to go to B of A and get that loan, hey, that's their choice. But what could we do as agents to educate people on why using a really successful producing hyper-local lender is the right path?
Well, number one, I mean, the big thing is listen. We find so often people just make assumptions based off preconceived notions or what have you, but really listening and understanding the client's specific need and what they're ultimately looking to achieve. And then again, being hyper local and consolidated into a specific area, really you are the market expert. Mm-hmm. Understanding what that person specifically needs from a property element is your expertise. With that coming in from a local lender, the ability to facilitate around those shortened timelines if needed and helping getting your offer accepted. I mean, that's really where the local kind of smaller lender will kind of facilitate around. Mm-hmm. So being able to really understand the client's needs, educating through means of technology, and just tailoring it specific to what they're looking to accomplish through the means of financing.
Right. So here's one objection that I've heard, and hopefully you can annihilate this objection. I've actually had clients say, my concern with working with a small-time lender is that they won't have the same competitive rates as Bank of America. So truth or false?
True to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
In certain elements of financing, absolutely the banks are going to be the better option with rates.
Mm-hmm.
But one, rate is nothing if you don't have a house tied to it. So that's number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, we're not a depository. Most mortgage banks are not a depository institution. Mm-hmm. Where Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, U.S. Bank, they're lending against their own money. Mm-hmm. Mortgage on their end is a loss leader. Their goal against acquisition of mortgages is to draw in deposits, draw in new credit cards, draw in new clients, new means of capital. They don't care about the mortgage. That said, their turn times are horrible. Their ability to execute, they'll lead a client 17 days into the escrow and say, hey, guess what? You actually don't qualify. We don't care. There's nothing we're going to do.
Right.
Goodbye. You lose your earnest money deposit. So in that element, in specific elements of financing, yes, mortgage banks, typically their rates are higher, but their rates are higher because they're not operating in the same capacity as a bank. Now, what I can say is most mortgage banks, and especially for us, Caliber, we are the leader when it comes to veterans, so VA financing, FHA financing, conventional, we're right in the pack as everyone else. So from the rate element, we are very well priced, but with that, we're not the lowest price in town, but with that, you're experiencing a service that other lenders cannot deliver upon. So, price is a very, very sensitive subject. I get that.
I think it is, but this is what I found. I think the majority of people, they're not concerned about price as much as you would think. At least from what I've experienced. They're more concerned about the process and the experience and getting to close on their home, their dream, whatever it is, that chapter of their life, even if it's not their dream, that next chapter. And working with somebody that they know that they're going to get the job done. And as long as it's competitive, and I think that's the key, it's competitive and it's within their means.
Absolutely.
What I've experienced when people are chasing, so we even tell people very bluntly, we are not, you were in there when we were joking about it earlier, we are not the cheapest when it comes to real estate services as far as being real estate agents to list a property. Right now, one of our best sources of money for our business is starting to become Redfin. And the reason why is because they are a 1% agent that aren't providing all the stuff that we're providing. So once somebody experiences what they experience with Redfin, and by the way, this is my YouTube channel, so I can say whatever I want. So once they experience Redfin, then they're like, man, I wish I would have paid a little more to begin with and experience what you provide. Like, they're becoming our best lead gen is past Redfin clients. And it's sad to say that because I think the Redfin model overall as a business is a pretty great model. But how it's implemented right now is not very good. But what do you expect?
And that's really, you set the stage for the best argument in rates. You get what you pay for. Mm-hmm. The lowest rate doesn't necessarily mean the best service.
Right.
So again, you can have the lowest rate in town, but if there's no house attached to it, guess what? It's not even worth the paper it's printed on.
That's right. Well, everybody, we're about 12 minutes in. I told everybody I would start making these shorter because I was making them they're 45 minutes, an hour long of me just sitting here running my mouth. So we're 12 minutes in. I'm going to try to get us down to 15 and eventually maybe 10. I doubt it. But appreciate you being out here. Tell people how they can get a hold of you if they're looking for a local lender in San Diego or
go to our website, gaylordhanson.com. My beautiful picture is on there. I'd love the opportunity.
I found him on Facebook.
Yes, Facebook as well. Eric Bibel. Give me a call. Bibel.
Very good, very good. Appreciate it. KSA, just doing what we do. Check out the Real Estate Blitz online, of course, our YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, go on there, subscribe, check it out. We always put up new content. Check us out on Facebook, and like, share, comment. Have a good one. We'll see you all later. KSA Kris, we're out.